would like to take a moment at the end of this gathering to describe to you the viewpoint that all of us have of you here on planet Earth. Your planet, you. We'd just like to give you a bird's eye view of what's going on here. You live on the leading edge, which is the most sought after creative environment, because it's an environment where even while you're mastering it, even before you master it, there's so much potential for satisfaction. But it is the sought after creative environment because it's just logical that thoughts come to more and more creative conclusions. Because every one of you has an inner being, and because of the balance of your planet, and because resistant ones are croaking and reemerging in the non-physical, and because new non-resistant ones are being born, and because the animal vibrational content is one of pure positive energy, the balance of your planet is so much more that of well-being than that of not well-being, that it's not even a discussion that you need to have. But you know, humans can take one little thing that's bothering them when there are lots of positive aspects, and they can take that one little thing that bothers them and they can use that as their reason to pinch themselves off from all of this other resource. But even if you do that, even if all of you were to decide at one time, which is completely illogical, that you were going to find a reason to all pinch yourself off all at once, still the resources of non-physical that are flowing forward assure well-being on this planet in this leading edge environment of creation. It's just a sure thing. We want to say to you, you don't have anything to worry about, but the things that you find that you use to worry about are the excuses that you use to pinch yourself off from the energy that is what you're all reaching for, and then you come to the flawed conclusion because of misunderstood circumstantial evidence that things are not going well. Things have never been better, and here's why. The contrast causes you to ask. More of you are listening now than ever before. More of you are rising to the vibrational frequency. There's more joy being experienced by more humans on planet Earth today than 10 years ago, 20 years ago, certainly 100 years ago, 200 years ago. It's getting better and better. It is not getting worse and worse. So we know how easy it is for you all to, instead of getting hold of this knowledge of well-being and focusing upon the positive aspects and looking for things to be satisfied, we understand how easy it is for you to find something that's wrong and push hard against it, believing that that is your great service to the world. But it is only a service as long as it gives birth to something in the vortex, and you are all doing that no matter what. So we're not asking you to be complacent about this. We're asking you to be very focused about it. We're not asking you to say, oh, all is well and therefore I don't have to think, because you have to think yourself into satisfaction. We're just assuring you that if you don't do it, everything is not going to be destroyed. We just want you to know that the well-being is dominant, and that as you reach for feelings of satisfaction, you will make that difference. And that's much of what you've been receiving. That is the big picture in all of this. Humans think that action is required, and action is a delicious part of being alive on planet Earth. Action matters a lot. It feels really good to act. But when you act from your alignment, that is action that is satisfying and productive. When you act under the influence of something else, not so much. We know that words don't teach, and that these words of reassurance might not be ringing quite true to some of you who've been worried about a lot of things. But we also want to remind you that we've got the big picture, and that we've seen you coming and going and coming and going and coming and going and coming and going. And in every bit of all of that, you know what our attention has always been upon? You know what the eyes of source energy have always been upon? Not the reality that you're living in any moment, but the vibrational reality that you've created. Because the vibrational reality that you've created is going to be, because the resistant ones among you are going to croak. And the new generation is going to come in and live the dream that you've put into the vortex. It cannot be otherwise than getting better and better and better and better and better. The momentum of the well-being of this planet is huge in comparison with the pinching off of it. You just have to decide how eager and willing you are to get into alignment with the well-being. And the answer to that is, what satisfying thought can I find right now? What is it? Does it have to be a great big thought that I can't even get my thoughts around? Or can I just enjoy that bug crawling across that log right now? It's so much easier than you've been letting it be. We have such appreciation for you being here in this room, being here in these bodies, being here on this planet. You're getting it mostly right in the sense that you can't help it. Contrast keeps causing you to become more. But today we think that you've come to a place where maybe you've decided with a little more determination than ever before that you're going to be aware of whether you're in the receiving mode of the well-being that you've put into this vortex or not. If you could just release your sense of responsibility to the world and let your responsibility be to your connection with Source right here and now, you would solve all problems. For a minute, and then you'd stir more up. And that's a good thing, because the contrast is what keeps us all moving forward. The contrast is what puts the eternalness in eternity. The contrast is what assures the wholeness and the foreverness of that which we are. There is great love here for you. And as always, we remain stubbornly, joyously, interestedly in your vortex.
We just want you to understand that what you want can be found wherever you are. And when you look where you are for it until you begin to show it to yourself, now your potential for finding it in other places is increased also. We see so many people unhappy in the bondage that they call work, freeing themselves and only finding other kinds of bondage out there because they didn't shift their vibration before they went. When you take action, before you've really lined up energy, then there is some downtime as you have physically walked into a new environment until you can get that energy up to speed. And it doesn't matter. In other words, you still can get it up to speed. But what we really are encouraging is taking the emotional journey first, or the vibrational journey first, and getting it all up to speed so that the universe has lined up the path that is an easily unfolding path. And then when you take what feels like the next logical steps, you don't have any rub. You don't have any downside to it because you've taken care of it vibrationally. What we are encouraging is that you do whatever you need to do in order to keep yourself flowing in terms of dollars. And while you are doing that action, do your visualizing and dreaming and positive what-ifing, so until you get a path laid out that begins to call you forward. And in that way, you don't have any of that feeling of insecurity. You don't have any of that lag time. Yeah. We can promise you that the universe not only will, but has already caught up with the dream that you have launched. But you haven't caught up with it vibrationally. You need to do the vibrational work. And it really is easier to do the vibrational job, the vibrational work, before you take the action than after you take the action, because now the stakes get higher. But the benefit of the stakes being higher is that your desire is stronger, you see, and so either way you win. The more you're living the trauma, the more desires you're launching, and the fluffier and brighter your vibrational escrow is, but then sometimes the harder it is to close that gap. So if we were standing in your physical shoes, we would look for something. We would say, I'm looking for something to temporarily satisfy my financial desires and needs and concerns while I am working on getting my vibrational gap tended to. Even in letting yourself go there, you will begin to feel relief. And then you can say things to yourself such as, I know that it's all going to work out just fine, and I have the freedom to choose anything that I'm wanting. So what we're saying to you is, you need to just stop complaining about that 10 hours and put 1 hour over here. You see?
Yeah.
And there's a really misunderstanding that because I'm doing this, I can't do this. And we say, you get so much leverage out of the hour of visualization you do, or out of the time that you spend writing positive aspects, or out of the time that you spend dreaming. You don't have to take that time and stop doing what you're doing.
If you are wanting to create something very quickly, focus upon that which you want until more and more thoughts of what you are wanting are gathered unto, bringing forth greater and greater powerful emotion, and then you will be a very powerful magnet, bringing into your experience the subject of your thought. That which you really, really want comes to you very quickly. And when we use the word want, what we are saying is giving thought in the direction of what is wanted, while at the same time experiencing great, powerful, passionate, positive emotion. If you can see yourselves as a magnet, can you not understand that it is your state of being that attracts unto you? If you are feeling poor, from that state of being you cannot attract prosperity. It defies law. If you are feeling unloved, you cannot attract love. If you are feeling fat or unattractive, you cannot attract beauty. It defies law. Your mental state of being, or your attitude about self, is the basis from which you attract more unto you. These are very powerful and very important words for you to hear. It is our intent to offer you a process by which you may attract precisely what you are wanting, no matter what your current state of being. And so law of attraction has many different points of view. It applies to thoughts that have magnetic power, that are attracted one to another. It has to do with people who have magnetic power, who attract one to another. It has to do with you being a magnet, attracting thought, attracting people, attracting events, attracting lifestyle. Indeed, everything that you bring into your experience, you bring because of this powerful law of attraction. And so the point is to see yourself as you are wanting to be, as if it already is, and from that point of being you will attract more. That is the reason that the better it gets, the better it gets. And the worse it gets, the worse it gets. We are wanting to assist you in a process that will bring you to a view or picture of yourself from which you will begin to attract. So many of you do not see yourselves through your own eyes. You let others reflect back to you their vision of you. And as you look into their eyes and hear their words, what they see of you is not what you are wanting to see, but it is so real that it is from that perspective that you attract. You become a magnet that is created through the eyes and wanting of others, rather than a magnet that is created by your own desire of who you are wanting to be. We will offer you a process by which you will choose what sort of magnet you will be. No longer will you be subject to what others believe or want or see. You will be the powerful creator of you and of your experience.